Okay, so we have a Dodge Ram rear end that we're doing, and you need a tool to adjust the carrier bearings, the load torque on your carrier bearings. They don't sell the tool anymore, you can't rent the tool anymore, so I made one off of the video that the guy from HowStuffInMyCarWorks made. It's a really ingenious idea. You use a, hold on, a 1 to ½ inch bushing. I used a washer and I think it's a 3/4 conduit lock nut. Either way, you don't care about the bearing you don't care about the threads on it or the ends on it. You just want it to hold the washer. Because I don't have a welder, so I did it this way. I used a bit of Loctite in there just because, well, I had some and I felt like it couldn't hurt, so I threw it in there. When you put it on, if you put it on to 150 foot-pound torque, when you go to set your preload on the bearings to 75 or 80 or whatever it calls for, the 150 won't give, so that'll work. I just used a pipe wrench, as you can see, some chewed up threads. But I just used a pipe wrench to put it on, and that worked out just fine. What you need is a 1/2 inch by 36 inch pipe. I use galvanized because it's cheap. There's the 1 by 1/2 bushing, 3/4 IU washer, and I did one more on the other end for the socket end. And again, tighten them both down to about 150 foot-pound torque. I don't know, tight as hell. Here's the torque wrench you're gonna need. You can get all these weird tools you're gonna need for this job at Harbor Freight. If you're doing the pinion bearing, which is probably why you're here, that's one way to do it. You need the torque wrench. You're gonna need 2 types of bearing pullers for this. This set for the pinion bearing because of the way the flange is on the casing. So you're gonna need one set like this. And then for the axle bearings, which I highly recommend replacing, you're gonna need this type of puller. And for the ends, if you need the part numbers, are 1 by 1/2 inch galvanized bushing from Menards, that's that. The flat washer, that's that. And this is for the conduit lock nut thing. It's really thin, that's why it works out with the washer. Feeler gauge, you're going to need about 7 thousandths backlash between the pinion gear and the ring gear. You're going to need that. And here's the new nut for the, I don't know what to call it, the carrier pin, lock pin. Here's the old one that came out of it. They're notorious for snapping off, so I bought a new one just to put back in it. Obviously, I haven't gotten that far yet, but it's supposed to work. And if it doesn't, I'm just going to put the old one in and snap it. But the video, this is just to help you if you don't have a welder to weld bolts on the other end of that. This works pretty good with the washer, but in order for this to work, you will have to do the axle bearings and seal. So there's no avoiding that if you have no welder, and this is the way you got to build it. So good luck.